We have a verdict in the Michael Jackson manslaughter trial, and it's guilty. Straight out to Gene Casares, legal correspondent with In Session. You were in the courtroom when this verdict came down. Gene, take us through it.
Michael Jackson's death has been determined to be a homicide, death at the hands of another. As I watched the jury finally, and I always watch them, not one of them looked at Conrad Murray. I knew what that verdict was going to be. They sat in their seats, Katherine Jackson sitting there very close to the jury, Randy, her son, with his arm around her, gently massaging her shoulder, LaToya there, Rebbie there, Jermaine there. And when that verdict was announced, that shriek in the courtroom, that was LaToya Jackson. She could not contain herself. Katherine very quietly got her Kleenex out and just started to cry and cry and cry. And the defendant, not really too much out of him, just sitting there at Chernoff, very emotional. But then the jurors were polled one by one. The emotion, the quietness, it was as if Michael was in that courtroom at that very moment. And to so many tonight, justice have been served.
I think the biggest shocker, almost in some ways more shocking than the verdict itself, Beth Karras, was that Dr. Conrad Murray was immediately handcuffed. A lot of folks thought, oh, he's going to go out and bond. He'll be shooting his documentary tonight, having dinner at Gladstone's. He was cuffed, and he is in jail as we speak. What was that like?
Well, the jury had just left, Jane, and the judge heard the motions. Now, I suspected this was coming. I've been in David Walgren's position, of course, not with a case like this, however, but after a conviction, the judge will often hear a bail application from the prosecutor. And he asked for the maximum, which is remand. Take away the bail, the $75,000 he has now. Don't increase it to $200,000 or something like that. Just take it away. Hold him until sentencing. And that's what the judge did. But the judge went through the factors that the law says you must consider in making that decision, most of which weighed against Conrad Murray, according to the judge. He looked at the crime he was convicted of. Involuntary manslaughter is a homicide. His actions resulted in the death of another person. He felt that he is, the public perhaps, is not safe having him at large. So he locked him up. This is not a Lindsay Lohan situation, Jane. He cannot get out in 4 hours. He cannot get out in 4 days. He has to stay there until November 29th, when he'll be sentenced.